Hello. I am Lisa Concepcion, certified professional love life coach and founder of LoveQuest coaching. And today I'm getting into the trauma bond. Oh my God, if you found this video, stumbled across this, and you're like, oh my God, I'm in a trauma bond relationship, I gotta know more. This is the right place. I'm psyched you found this. Let's get into the content. Basically, I wrote an article about how to break your trauma bond. And it goes really super deep in first understanding what a trauma bond is, how you got into this in the first place, and what methods and modalities I've used with my clients that have brought them success. These are people who have reinvented their whole lives simply by getting away from toxic, narcissistic, abusive, emotionally abusive, manipulative people. And it doesn't only have to apply to romantic relationships. This can also apply to family relationships, friendships, colleagues even. I had a client who had a trauma bond with her employer. She was with this man, this boss, since she graduated college. It was the first job she ever had. And this dynamic that she had with this boss, it was like a father figure to her, and it was because her father had passed away when she was a teenager. So we did a bunch of inner child work, and she realized that she turned her boss into a stand-in stunt dad because she missed her dad. So this man came out of the nowhere of the nothing. She was job hunting. She's right out of college. They meet. She ends up working for him as an assistant because she's entry level. She works her way all the way up through the company. But through that, my gosh, 15, 20 years of working with this person, there were just so many toxic and like just inappropriate, blurred lines of personal and professional. And she had to break out of that. She's like, I'm never gonna have a life if I'm constantly connected to this world. So it could also be that she wasn't in a trauma bonded romantic relationship. She was trauma bonded to her boss. She felt totally controlled. She was like, he pays me amazing, controls so much of my life, but like enabled behaviors in her where like he just would like cater to her in a way that stunted her growth. And this way he can control her. So anyhow, I helped her with that. But the article that I'm referring to, you can find it in the blog section of LoveQuestCoaching.com. That's my website. I go into, you can tell you're addicted to the trauma bond relationship dynamic when you say the following things. Or anyone in your circles, my God, share this video if you're like, oh my God, that's my sister, that's my friend. These are the things that people say when they're in the trauma bond dynamic. I always go for the bad boys, or men would say, I always go for the crazy ones. That means you are ripe, perfect prey, if you will, for the predatory, manipulator, taker type of person. And you're going to end up trauma bonded with them. Another thing that they say is, I always get bored in relationships. Nice guys are boring. Nice guys are boring. This is a telltale sign that you are going to be trauma bonded. You're probably going to find some bad boy who's going to treat you like crap, and then you're going to be bonded to him. And you're going to know, deep inside, you're going to know, this guy's awful. I shouldn't be with this person. They lie. They're inconsistent. They have my nervous system going up and down. I have a pit in my stomach. But your wounded version of you, who's running the show in all of your romantic life, will continue to seek out these dysfunction, toxic relationships because they haven't healed. You haven't healed that wounded version of yourself yet. You haven't even met them yet. You're just subconsciously going, they're there subconsciously, and you're going through your life, and you're not really aware of who's calling the shots and making the decisions. The other thing that people who are often in trauma bond situations and even find that normal, they normalize it by saying, people aren't perfect, people fight, you just want to be on a cloud. Like you just want a relationship that's perfect and nothing like that exists. And so these people have normalized toxicity and dysfunction. And they think that when things are calm in a relationship and chill, and nobody's arguing and fighting and there's no bone to pick or anything, and you're just chilling out, that is unsettling to them. It's like they're used to the trauma and drama of like childhood and whatever, and all this erratic, you know, chaotic, emotional outbursts and things around them, that when they are in a relationship and they can just be, and they can just be themselves and silent and chill, they're like, what is this? This is like walking on another planet. So this is all signs that work needs to be done to heal the wounded inner versions of yourself, so that then you can be in a healthy relationship. So it's like a split. The adult, very wise version of you, who's been through a bunch of stuff, knows that you're worthy of a healthy, happy, harmonious relationship, right? And then you hit yourself in the head and you're like, then why am I with this asshole? Why? Why am I taking this bullshit? Stupid. Why am I doing this? And then you beat yourself up. The reason, and I go into this way deeper into the blog article, which you can find at LoveQuestCoaching.com. And I will put it in the comments below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it will be in the description. But reason why you have this split is because you haven't acquainted yourself yet with that wounded version of you. And so imagine, if you will, a little cute 8-year-old version of you, let's say, and they're traumatized because of something that happened in their childhood, something that they didn't get that they needed from their parents or caretakers or teachers or whatever. And it made a mark on them. It made a scar on them. You know, something was said or something was done that made them believe that they weren't enough and that they had to be small and quiet, or they had to please people, whatever. You form these strategies as a kid. But if you have yet to acknowledge that that little kid still exists in you and take full responsibility for them, right? And be responsible for who gets access to them. So that's where your boundaries start to happen and get created and get solidified, something I help people to do all the time. Then that little kid will continuously seek outside of you for soothing, validation, affirmation, approval, love, right? But they only can come to you. But you don't know them yet. You didn't acquaint yourself with them yet. So one of the things that I do for people when I coach is I help them to identify these past wounded versions of themselves and acquaint with them and treat them, I need my drink, hold on. And treat them like best friend, truest love, parent even, so that they can start to make new agreements with themselves about what is and what is not allowed. And not from the perspective of a little random 8-year-old who's just looking for soothing. Grown up says, you are 8, you go play, you go be 8. I am looking out for you. I choose who gets around you. They're going to get to you. They got to come through me. And that gives you empowerment. That's where you start to become empowered. You start to act as an adult, be in your true adult self when it comes to relationships. And then all like codependent behaviors go away. You start to really get clear about what you desire in a significant other, in a relationship. If you're in one and you have this stuff going on, you start to make new agreements. People start treating you differently. You know, so here's another one. You can tell you're addicted to the trauma bond relationship dynamic when you say, they can go days without talking to me. I'm sorry, what? If you're in a relationship and they vacillate from attention for a few days, a few weeks, and then nothing, they just fall off the earth, cut you off. They don't know how to have any kind of conflict resolution. They don't know how to like bring things up that might be pissing them off or whatever. But no, they just hurt you by messing with your nervous system, your central nervous system, of disappearing. If you have abandonment issues or anxious attachment this is going to light you up and this is going to trigger you and you're going to be like a roller coaster. And that roller coaster does something to your brain frequency and brain chemistry. It messes with your wiring so that you begin to start chasing the high after the low instead of bye. So there are people out there, which is exactly the trauma bond relationship, right? It's this push-pull dynamic, right? So you're like going along nice, everything awesome, and you're waiting for the shoe to drop. And then the shoe drops, and then you have to prove your worthiness, prove you're lovable to this maniac, inconsistent, immature loser. Because look, there are a lot of people out there on videos doing these videos. They don't talk it like what it is. These people are losers. And you know what? I'm going to give it to you strong and straight. If you continue to let them run game on you, that makes you a loser too. I said it. Said what I said. Not blaming the victim. No. Empowering you to look at your situation, to really be honest with yourself and loving to yourself and drawing a line in the sand and saying, effective immediately, I'm out. I saw this video, this chick Lisa on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're going to find this. And oh my God, she just to my face told me through a video exactly what my life has been. Me chasing this asshole, proving that I'm lovable to this loser for months and months and months, years and years and years. I'm wasting my life. So this chick came up on my video and told me what was up. So now that you heard this and it kind of slapped you in the face, I'm not just going to leave you hanging. That would be terrible. So what you do next is I offer a free love life assessment. So you go over to LoveQuestCoaching.com. You'll see a picture of me there so you know it's real and not some fake bot, get your information BS. I don't roll like that. And you'll see a box. Click it. It says free love life assessment. Hit that. And then you're given this platform where you can tell me what's going on. You can tell me I've been in a trauma bond relationship. It's on and off for 4 years. It's a situationship, but then we get serious, but then we don't. He leaves. He kicked me out of his house. I have money with this man. I don't know. All your drama, you could like it on this assessment. And then I get it into my email and I read it. And I give you a personalized reply. This is not some bot thing that pops up. No, it is not one size fits all because everybody has their own degree of issues and things that are nuanced. And you can't just press a button and here's the solution. It doesn't work like that. So that's that. So go to website, read article. I go in it deep, deep. I go into like, people who are trauma bonded make excuses for their abuse and the abuser. Come on. Some people might even say, you know, I had this client the other day, we were on the call. She's like, oh, but you know, he was born in India and he came here with his Indian family when he was, 12. So that gives him a right, apparently in her mind, to abuse her, to be controlling, to be manipulative with his actions towards her. Horrible, manipulative, highly manipulative. And she excused it. Oh, that's just the way he is. Born in India. Honey, you're in America now. And it doesn't matter where the person was born. It's about respect. It's about adoration and being in a relationship where both people are looking out for each other. And if anything like that is not happening and you don't feel safe, protected, secure, you gotta go. You got to go. So I realize it's difficult. The ending a trauma bond is like major, major work. Major work. Step one is leaving though. Then you do the work. You don't do the work from inside. It's impossible. To get out of the relationship and then you start doing the work. And the question then becomes, what is it in me that attracts this? What is it in me that it gets so attached to people that are toxic? Once you start uncovering that, and that's what I help people to do, your whole world opens up to you. You feel better instantly, like immediately. You start to really discover, like, I get why now. I get why now I made excuses for this person, right? You forget about yourself. Your worthiness and mood depends on their opinion of you. No. All of this wiring gets shifted, and it's powerful. If their gaze upon you is positive, then you feel fulfilled. The second they turn angry, critical, despondent, you feel the anxiety well up in your body. Coaching another client, also trauma bonded. She's like, you don't understand. My body would literally heat up. She'd feel a fever come over her when she knew it was like 15 minutes from when he was going to show up at her house. So her body was reacting, physical reaction to something in her environment that was toxic, that being this relationship. Elizabeth says, I escaped from a trauma bonded relationship. I'll never go back. I have identified the red flags. Super important. And yeah, I mean, identifying the red flags is definitely an important step for sure, but it's also taking action once those red flags are revealed. That's the big part. That's where the boundaries comes in. Because everybody's like, I know red flags. I see red flags. I can see red flags. Okay, but what do? Do you leave, or do you give this guy your number and say, oh yeah, let's go out again and again because I can change you? No. So it sounds like Elizabeth escaped it. She's wise now. She's like, no, I see this shit coming 5 miles away and I'm out. But the follow-up to all of that is creating your new life, right? So once you escape a trauma bond and you start to be like, okay, I am done focusing on this. And I do get that when you are getting out of a trauma bonded relationship, a narcissistic abusive relationship, etc., there is a time where you want to research like every video out there, which is possibly why you found me, about trauma bonding, about narcissistic abuse, about narcissistic personality disorder or bipolar disorder, all these different things, right? You're kind of being like a little sleuthy detective, and there is a process. I wrote an article about the process of healing from these types of relationships, and the step 1 process is doing the detective work and studying up on who the hell these people are, so that you're aware and you feel more empowered because you know what they look like, you understand them, you know what to listen for. But then eventually you can't sit in that, and that's the problem. Too many people sit in that for too long. They know every single thing there is about the narcissist, but they know nothing about themselves, the codependent who attracted the narcissist in the first place. And they don't know what the steps are to heal themselves, so that they don't ever become a match to these people ever again. If you're looking at that still, so if you're in it and you're just like narcissistic abuse and I'm looking up trauma bond and I'm reading books on it, and you're beating the drum of that energy, right? And that's cool to do, but don't date when you're doing that. Allow yourself the time to heal, and that's part of it. Because if you're looking, trauma bond, I'm reading a book about trauma bond, I'm watching Lisa on videos about trauma bond, what do you think is going to happen in your life? You're going to attract more of the same. But after that phase, again, I repeat, it is a necessary phase. You need to move forward though to, all right, I'm over this. I have like practically a PhD in all this crap because I've been reading it and TikToking and all this. Once you get to that, you're going to ask, okay, what now? And so what now? What kind of relationship do I want, if any? Do I just want to take time for me and reacquaint with me? And my post-breakup detox program does exactly that. Gets you full on started on a whole new life after divorce, after breakup, after, you know, some run-in with a psychopath, throws your mind for a loop, breaks your heart, takes your central nervous system, makes it awful. So then you need time. First, educate yourself, of course, but then get clear on what you want for your life next, and then have a plan to take little steps, winning the day every day towards the bigger thing that you want. The life, like I call it, the great magical life over there. Right? We all have a vision for our great magical life over there. So when you're exiting these relationships, these trauma, awful relationships, horrible. You can't even think straight. Like, life over there, I'm too busy looking at this mess right here. So you got to get out of that mess because you will stay stuck in that. And then your whole identity becomes, I used to be in a trauma bond. I was in a trauma bond. And now, okay, wonderful. Great. How long is that going to be your story? How about I was in a trauma bond. I'll never be in that shit again. And look what I created next. Now I'm in a happy, healthy, harmonious relationship. This man that I am with, this woman that I am with, they are awesome. We have a great thing. We're building this. We're doing that. We're traveling here. We're whatever your magnificent over there looks like, start marching towards it. And you can tell that part of the trauma bond, it does keep you stuck. It's not just about, I ended it, I broke up, and I'm done. No, it's, I need to work on me. I got to look at all of my childhood. Why did I need this person's love so badly? How am I not able to generate that kind of love for myself? What is the deal with that? Let's get into that. And in that pursuit of being fully committed to you, I'm fully committed to opening all the boxes of your soul, all this stuff that you got to sift through and make sense of and be like, oh, I don't want to keep this belief anymore. And this isn't serving me anymore. And that's part of like that reinvention. You get to decide, like, all my life I thought this way of myself. Okay, well, effective today, I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper 500 times. I did this. I believe this. I am this. I am this. I am that. And eventually your subconscious mind, your brain programming will shift into a new belief system and a new paradigm and a new identity. So this is all the work that I do through coaching. I help people get from the shit pit out and onto their wonderful, magical life that they want for themselves, that they desire. So this article, I mean, honey, I can scroll and scroll like, hi, what to do to end a trauma bond. If you're reading this, nodding your head saying, yeah, well, this is me. This is where you get to the free assessment and you take some action and you get this handled. Right? They chose you for a reason. Look, I said it right in the article. The main thing to understand here is that you will not be able to change them. People stay in these relationships, trauma bonded, analyzing them. He had a really rough childhood. He had this go down. He had, his whole house was blown up in a fire when he was 12. He became very secluded. He doesn't know how to mix with people. Why are you making excuses for these people? Everybody goes through shit in their life, okay? You can have empathy for people. That sucks. You can be like, bro, that really sucks, man. Like, you lost your whole house when you were 15 and like your brother died in the fire. Like, shit, that's rough. Like, what did you do to get over that? Like, how did you cope with that? What did you do? Like, you can have empathy, compassion, all of that, but you don't have to date this person. When you start learning the backstory of people and they're not talking to you from a place of power, from a place of, take the example of the guy with the firehouse and lost his brother. Yeah, so here's what I did. I was, in a really bad place through the remainder of my teens. My parents had to rebuild. We lived with my aunt and uncle for a while. We were grieving the loss of my brother. It was a total shit show. Like, my entire high school was a blank. But then I found a group of teenagers, boys, that were for people who experienced loss. And I found this through my church. And then I started to go on retreats with these boys and I started to like have mentorship. And then I got into college and I started to lead like a youth group. So I turned all of that like sadness into service. And I now have, a successful business and I, have a foundation in the name of my brother. That's a healthy person. That's somebody that you're like, damn, like, I want to date this guy. I want to marry this guy. Like, my God, had adversity, overcame adversity, turned it into something amazing, right? He's not using it as an excuse to be an asshole to people. And people who are sensitive and empathic to their detriment will hear a story like that. Their heart will go out to them, but they won't ask the important question, how did that impact you in your life and what did you learn? And then listen. And you can tell in what they say. Are they still harboring it? Is it still wounded? Is it still fresh wound? Or is it something that they've buried or suppressed? Even that's not healthy either. So pay attention to this because people get, I have an itch in my eye. It might be a Kevin hair. My puppy Kevin is sleeping right there. Little sweet baby. He's sleepy. There's little hair in my eye. So inner child work and shadow work, both are powerful tools to end the trauma bond and heal. That is the stuff that I do. That is the magic that I use to help the people. It's very confronting. I'll tell you that straight up. When you're trying to leave a trauma bond and you start doing inner child work and shadow work, it's like, hi, here's you. And you try to like go over here, like, I can't look at this crazy bitch all day. And then you go like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go look at Netflix. Hi, here's me again. Like you can't escape yourself. So don't bother trying. Because if you do, that's how you start to distract yourself with dysfunctional people. Don't confront yourself. What you don't handle will be repeated. Worse. So if I also shared, because it's not all bad news, Lainey. We'll call her Lainey. 38 years old, oldest of 3 sisters. Dad cheated on her mom when she was 12. She was riding her bike, saw her father kissing the neighbor in his car blocks away. So she didn't know that her father saw her riding the bike down the street and assumed she saw. So when she got home about an hour later, he, the dad, asked Lainey to step outside to have a talk with her. So he's like, what did you see? And Lainey said nothing. So he knew that his daughter was lying. Lainey was lying. And he yelled at her, don't lie to me, and smacked her in the face. And she fell to the ground crying. She was 12 years old. 12 years old, catches dad making out with neighbor in the car, blocks away. Lainey on bike, sees this, makes it like, oh shit, let me speed my Schwinn. Let me speed it home. She wanted to bury it and be like, dude, if I tell people, what's going to happen, right? So father sees little Lainey riding down the street. He's like, holy shit, my daughter totally saw us making up. So tells her, confronts her, Lainey, did you see anything? She's like, no. Liar. Boom, smacks her in the face. Trauma. That is trauma. Okay. So Lainey stood up. Oh, wait, no, there's more. It gets better. Hold on. Her mother comes running in, asking what happened. She sees Lainey crying, shaken up on the floor, but she's like angry. He's 12. And she's sobbing, holding her face. Dad lies again. Double downs. Narcissistic. Says, I caught Lainey riding her bike in the street and she lied and said she wasn't. So Lainey is now 38 with this memory. She's telling me this in a coaching session. So Lainey stands up, wipes her tears, badass, 12 years old, calmly says to her father in front of her mother, you are a liar. I saw you kissing Jenny the neighbor up the street in your car and you asked me if I saw, and yes, I lied and I said no. So you slapped me across the face. She left her parents stunned. She was super composed and calm because she was traumatized. It was like an out of body thing she felt. She felt herself like leaving her body and like hovering over the situation. Common for trauma. So Lainey goes to her room and at that moment decides my father is dead to me from this moment on, done, no more connection with father. Father, super narcissistic. So what he did was he would torment little Lainey and he would rattle her cage by being extra nice to her younger sisters because Lainey was the oldest of 3. So he would spoil the youngest sister and kind of like triangulate and play the sisters against each other. And Lainey didn't care. So her parents divorced by the time she was 15 and she decided to never see her father. Fast forward to adult Lainey who came to me now trying to get out of a 6-year trauma bond. She said, I know exactly what is happening. I know why, but I can't leave this guy. He's just like my father. He cheated on me twice and I took him back. And he's probably even cheating on me right now. And when I catch him and threaten to leave, she says, and move into with my sister, he lures me back every time. So why can't I just stay out and end it? This was her justified question. This is the question Everybody in a trauma bond will ask, why can't I just end this? This is crazy. And when I end it, why can't I stay out? So I said, inner child work and shadow work will get to the bottom of that, and that is the work that I do. By connecting to the wounded version of yourself who is running the show when it comes to relationships, you can heal that, fix that. Lainey, in her case, there's the 38-year-old grown-ass woman who wants peace and joy in her life. But then there's little Lainey at 12 and little Lainey at 15 and younger Lainey at 25 and 30. And she chooses men like her father because it's familiar and because she's yet to make peace with that trauma that happened in her life. So Lainey goes on to excel professionally. She does very well for herself. Why? Because she saw how her mother struggled after the divorce. So she also struggled by default. She went from having her own room to having like 3 girls in a room, sometimes like having things and then not having things. So there was a lot of like inconsistency in care. So she was like 1 minute, you know, doing well, new clothes for all the girls. And then like 6 months later, they're like, we don't know how we're going to pay to live kind of thing. So that money stress impacted her in such a way where she was like, I'm going to do my thing, do well professionally, always have money, always like be a badass and be self-reliant. So this fight or flight put her in a very masculine energy. I have content and videos about masculine energy, especially trauma-related masculine energy in women. So you can check that out if that's a topic that you're trying to master, your feminine energy. I can help you with that. I was once very in my masculine New York badass. Get out of my way. Gotta go. Gotta get to the office. In the matrix. Gotta. Ridiculous. Had to handle all of that noise attached to that. So yeah, I mean, the thing with the Lainey, the whole deal, how it netted out, and you can get the full rest of her story, like, dun, 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 did she make up with her father? Was she able to get peace in this? What are her relationships like now? What happened to Lainey? You can find out how she dealt with all of this unaddressed anger, the stuff that she thought she had handled years ago. She did not, but she did it with me, so you could see what happened. If you read the blog article, link is in the description. You could head on over to LoveQuestCoaching.com. Click blog, it's there also. LoveQuestCoaching.com for free love life assessment. Get that over there. I hope this was like informative and entertaining, right? So you got something out of it. And if you want to hang with me, get answers to your specific questions, kick it on over to LoveQuestCoaching.com. Happy to help you. It's all going to be fine. Just got to get clear and some courage and love for yourself to make these decisions, to be like, nobody's messing with me today, bro. And just, you know, do what you got to do to be peaceful and happy. So that's my message for you. I hope this helped you. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thanks so much. And if you're watching me on YouTube, hit the subscribe. Tell other people that I exist. And then hit the bell notification so when this party starts, you're getting invited. Talk soon. Much love. Bye.